Today, I'm going to be breaking down Babylon by Patoranking featuring Victony, where, as usual, I'm going to be talking you through the various elements that I'm picking up on as we go through it. Okay, so a couple of key moments within the track. Firstly, the hook, emphasis, importance, and the execution of it absolutely bangs. Secondly, vocal layering and harmonies. Thirdly, early contrast, both in terms of the intro and the first verse from both of the artists. And we're going to be talking about this and more in today's video. Now, before we do actually go ahead and get into it, I do just want to take a quick moment just to give a shout out to all of you, because for the last kind of 2 to 3 weeks, like, the channel has been popping off in a big way. So yeah, absolutely happy days. Right, let's get into some new music. Okay, banging switch up there over to the guitars. Yeah, bangs. Okay, right, so we are just about to go into, or leaked over to, the first verse. So let's cover off the intro and the chorus. So a couple of things to pay attention to here. The first one is the intro. You notice that it's only 8 bars long, but within those 8 bars, we get a shift. We go from the opening, where we've got keys, to the latter part of the intro, where we go to the strumming guitars, which actually, in my opinion, is an absolutely banging switch up, especially that early on. The second thing that we notice is the importance of the hook. Now, as the listener, you know that the hook is important because you're vibing to it, you're singing to it, you're loving it, right? But there are a couple of indicators in there that also let us know that from the production team side, there's also been emphasis and importance placed on that hook. So the first one is, you notice that the chorus vocals are in there from the get-go. Yes, they are buried quite far back in the mix, but the point is, they're in there. Number 2, what happens when we move out of the intro? Well, we don't go into a verse. We go straight into that hook, which leads me on to point 3. What happens when that shift occurs? Everything gets cut from the track. The instruments and the percussions, we have this sole focus on the opening of that hook. But also there are other things, you know, like when we do shift over and everything comes back in, you notice that there are a lot of effects being placed on those vocals to ensure that they're big, wide and present on the track. And we've also got some tail offs in there as well. Let's go back. Let's listen. Right, keys. Chorus vocals. Shift up. Guitars in there now. Right, hook emphasis. Ready? Boom. And it bangs. Listen to the tail offs as well. Harmonies.
Remember when we no feel the tears back, when we see the pushy and us good to first talk. This is my story, you know go fit like, cause not the guy matter we go fit to end class.
It bangs, mate. Okay, right, we're going to stop it there. Let's talk about some of the things that have occurred within the first verse. So one of the things that I find really interesting about the first verse is the fact that it's only 8 bars long, but we get a feature from both of the artists, and I think it absolutely bangs, complements the track really, really well. Early diversification, early contrast, early shift up. Now, Second thing, and we go back to the kind of like importance and emphasis, but only this time around the vocals. And the reason why I say that is because very early on, you notice that we start to get layers and we start to get harmonies being applied to those vocals. And they're not subtle either. They are very, very obvious, bringing emphasis, adding richness and texture to those vocals. Now, couple more things to pin your ears to. You notice that when we first go into the first verse, the bass comes into the mix, but there is also another layer at play. And it sounds like just some synth keys to me, but they are harder to hear on Patoranking's part. But when we shift over to Victony, they become much more clearer on the track. So listen out for those as well. Let's go back. Let's listen. Bass in there. Layers. Harmonies. Cut. Listen to those synth keys. Boom. More layers. Vocal run there as well. Harmonies now. Okay, right. Stop it there very, very quickly. Let's just very quickly talk about the second chorus. So the main thing I want to draw your attention to is what happens when we shift over into that second chorus. What is it that comes back into the mix when we hit it? It's the guitars, right? Like the guitars were removed from the mix throughout the entirety of that first verse, but when we hit that chorus, boom, they come back in. Now, obviously, we get a lot more vocal layering going on. Yeah, I pointed it out in the video. We got vocal runs, ad-libs, follow-ups, harmonies, all of this sort of stuff. Again, just kind of helping to uplift that chorus. But another thing that I do just want to talk about is the simplicity of the beat. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because somebody commented on one of my videos earlier on in the week, and they said that they were an aspiring producer but really struggled to kind of put beats together. And I want to use this as an example, right? Like, you don't have to have these really complex beats, right, going on where you've got conflicting rhythms and all this sort of stuff, right? If you listen to this beat, it is very, very simple and it just repeats. There's no major shifts or changes. So if you are an aspiring producer and you are struggling within that area, listen to this track or go listen to a kind of down-tempo R&B track where, again, they have a tendency to use simpler beats. Like, it doesn't have to be really complex, man. Like, start simple and then build from there. Right, let's go back and let's listen. Right, guitars are back in now. Layers. Okay, that's a nice switch. Yeah, nice responses. What best and the champion, Victony carrion. Deputy shake me, say I don't be mad pow. I got it set back if I easy my setback. She a buka, get a big get, and I stop and pass go for me to no create to enters. Yeah. Babylon, Babylon. Okay, right, I'm going to stop it there because there have been a couple of switch ups within the, second verse. So let's talk about those and then we can see the rest of the track out. Okay, so a couple of interesting things to pay attention to within the second verse that are different to the first verse. So what you'll notice is that when Patoranking comes in, the bass is removed from the track. In the first verse, the bass was in there the whole way through. Now, another change that occurs is we've got guitar in there. which actually we didn't have any guitars in the first verse at all, but it's at a higher range this time. So it's being played slightly differently. But on top of that, we also have a set of keys that are helping to support that guitar, especially with the removal of the bass. Now, you have to listen really hard to hear those keys, right? Because, you know, the guitar is kind of drowning them out, but not in a bad way. It's meant to be that way. Those keys are there just sort of like for an additional layer of support, if you like. But what is particularly interesting is what happens when we move over to Victony's part, right? Everything goes back to normal. The bass comes into the mix, percussions are in there, like those synth keys, or what we're calling synth keys, come back in. But the guitar, the keys get removed completely. So we almost go back to square one when Victony comes into the mix. So let's go back, let's listen.
Meeting strong, me not tag along. What best and the champion, Victony carry-on.
Keep it the shake me, say I don't be
Boom.
bow. I got it setback if I easy my setback. She a buka, get it big, then I stop and pass for me to no agree to enters. Yeah. Babylon, Babylon. Me a go run till I.
Right, just a slight change within the chorus there. You notice when we go over into it, percussions are cut for just a period. Also, you notice that the bass, there is a bass in there, but it's nowhere near as strong as what it's been in the choruses up to this point. So again, just some slight shifts. Let's go back very, very quickly.
Setback. She a buka, get it big, then I stop and pass for me to no
Right, listen.
Babylon, Babylon.
Boom. Right, outro now. Bangs, mate. Okay, that's it for me. If you want to see more breakdown and analyses videos, there'll be things popping up on the screen right now. Other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will see you in the next one.